So while I was scrolling, I happened to notice that somebody wrote a very interesting question, and I thought, you know what, I should probably make a video to talk about this topic. Hi, welcome back. The name is Sir Hans Felix, and if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, then welcome home. Make yourself feel comfortable. All right, sit back, relax, enjoy, like, and subscribe. This ain't your first time on YouTube, so let's get into it. So the question that was asked is, what are some important things a trader should do to prepare for a successful week? Well, I'm glad you really asked that question. Let's talk about it. Now, as a trader, it is very, very important to prepare for the new week. Reason why is, one, obviously, you can't just be slacking, right? Although we get it, a stressful week definitely asks for some rest, but to ensure that your performance going forward as the market opens again is one that is not going to be disappointing. All right, so how do you actually prepare yourself? What are some tips? I'm going to be discussing that. Okay, number one, I think it is super important that you prepare yourself mentally. And how you prepare yourself mentally during the week can be, one, you have to rest. Okay, a lot of times traders, we sacrifice a lot of hours on the charts. We prepare ourselves to wake up in crazy hours that most people wouldn't even dare to wake up. Like, for instance, if you're trading multiple sessions like London, New York, and London again, it is very important for a trader to rest. Okay, so get yourself at least 6 to 8 hours of rest between Saturday and Sunday, or even Friday evening once the market closes. That is a great recipe for success going forward. Also, it is very important to spend time with family, unwind, unplug, find yourself a medium, find something enjoyable to do. Like, try to really detach yourself from the markets, even though I personally feel like it might be difficult if you are very passionate, or maybe you took a crazy loss and all you can do is really think about that loss and how you're gonna make that money back. We've all been there. All right, I personally have been in the shower after a few losses, and I'm just sitting here like an R&B singing, like, what happened? How do we let this pass us by? Like, how do we come to this moment? Obviously, this is why I need rest. As a trader, it is super, super important to be sleeping and catching up on the hours that you might have lost during the week. Okay, and spending time with family is just as equally important, because we don't always have a good balance and maintaining the work to family life, because we're busy being on the charts and those profits for the family. All right, so number two, weekend back testing, going over the previous week price action and where we are going into the month, just to be understanding of what is really going on. And that also gives you time to really see some things that you might have missed. Being able to get fresh insight while the market is not moving, very important. Sometimes you just might want to actually get in some trades while the market is still active, but during the weekend, everything is frozen except for the cryptocurrencies market. It allows you time to really reflect, see what happened in the past versus what you may have seen or may not have seen. So that essentially helps you to really backtest, take notes, reevaluate the decisions that you made, so that way you can use that data to improve for next time. Number three, go over your previous week performance, which means you got to go over the losses. You got to look over the profits. You got to see if you broke even. You got to check and see if you made your targeted goal. Why? Because it's important to see how you perform in order to continue that consistency. There are times when you're looking back and you're wondering, like, how did I not see this? Or maybe your emotions were getting in the way after a few losses or a few attempts. Or perhaps you just didn't have proper sleep, and maybe fundamental news just hit and there was a lot of volatility, which kind of kept you from staying in and being more exposed. So all of these things do factor in whether you may have think it or not. So this is why, it's important to cut on some soothing music, relax, go over some of the performances and see what every trade that you took represented. And you need to document and see exactly how you can implement for better. All right. So going over losses is definitely important as well, because that gives you a lot of insight about you and who you think you are in front of those charts. Because sometimes we had planned to risk a certain amount of money. And what happens if you risked way more than that, or you lost a lot more than you did the previous week? That allows you to reflect and really ask yourself, how can we come back from this loss? How can we take a lesson out of what we just experienced here to use that wisdom to improve? All right, so these things are very important. These types of conversations that you're having with yourself when the markets are closed, super, super important. All right, this is usually when it's best to check your journal and see what was written. These things help for you to actually tie in with the performance that you had. I personally like to take notes in my journal just to talk about like what really happened, because throughout the weekend then I get to document and go over these notations that I made, and I'm going to actually use that for next week as a reminder. Okay, because we do get to when we get caught up in our emotions from time to time, you're not really thinking straight. So this is why it's important, after you've regrouped, to go back and write down the situations that you came across while you were trading. Okay, very important, very professional stuff. Number 4, it is important to record yourself from time to time while you're trading, just to see what your overall behavior and composure was, because a lot of times traders backtest, everything is just frozen, so it's not the same as when the market is really moving. Because truth be told, with each printing candle, the market paints a different picture. So what you may have seen at 8:30 in the morning is not what happened at 9:30 in the morning. So when you tie everything in together, maybe your stop loss got hit and you just walked away for a few hours. So when you come back, there's so much more information. So this is why it is so important, honestly, to record yourself during sessions just to see what your overall mood and temperament was. This is very, very, very helpful. Truth be told, I like to go back and, just like an athlete, it's film day, I'm sitting here looking at what I did, I'm looking at what the candles did. Each of those moments, it helps for me to gather a real perspective on what really goes on with myself versus what I'm seeing on the charts. All right, number 5, read. Okay, it is very important to have different types of reading material that can help you prepare for the upcoming week. Whether that's Trading in the Zone, or the 12 Habitudes of a Successful Trader, or One Good Trade. These are great books to read, along with personal development books, things like that can really help elevate your mindset, because a lot of times we go through many highs and lows in the markets, and truth be told, like it does take a toll on you, which is why like you can't go with the same mentality into the new week, or else that's a recipe for disaster. One thing I actually like to do is I like to have a end of the week or weekend one-on-one session with myself. So in that video, I like to give myself constructive criticism. I like to talk about what went well, what went not so well, and I always tell myself, hey man, you're doing a good job, I love you, keep pushing. So like that helps for me to look back in time and see what I did and see how I encourage myself, and then the future version of myself then gets to watch this video and use all of that data to prepare for the week. So when the market's open, oh man, I feel bad for whatever pair I choose, because it's lights out. You know what I'm saying? Like the battle continues, but instead of just being ill prepared, I'm more than ready to kill those markets and come home with a W. And if I don't, then obviously we still got more work to do, or we really take all that information in just to prepare for the next week and the next week and the next week. So overall, just remember, it is a marathon. Okay, now the way you prepare yourself for another week sets the tone for whether you will be a success overall or just a mediocre trader. All right, so I wouldn't want that for my enemy. If you're gonna step in front of that ring, you better be ready. You better be doing everything in your power to give yourself the best chance at those probabilities that will be presented in front of you. Make sure you look at your high quality setups, make sure you sharpen your blade, make sure you understand your risk management, and improve in those areas that you feel like are still your weak points. Because let's be honest, if you don't keep it real with yourself, nobody's going to. And when these markets are really striking, man, you got to be strong enough to stand and take the blow. But in order for you to become better, you have to have those self-reflective conversations that can help you to improve, because the sense of perception you may have about yourself could make or break you. And we are dealing with high impact, high risk environments, and all of these things do ask for you to maintain a very high sense of worth about who you think you are, win or lose. All right, so with that being said, I hope this video bring you a lot of insight and will help you in figuring out how to prepare yourself for a new week. Truth be told, I love my weekends. This is where I really get to unwind and put myself in a position to win for the next week. And I think every trader should make sure that even if they're having a good time during the weekend, but they have to be mindful that the new week is right around the corner. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. If you are interested in a 3-day bootcamp recording where I break down a lot of psychological barriers and obstacles to overcome for a trader, make sure to look down at the link below where I will be leaving the link to that Telegram where you will have access to all of these videos. And I'll see you next time. Peace, love, and blessings. Signing out.